Right, good.
If we're not going to let the death of David Amos affect freedom in this country, then why did we skip the vote on renewing the Coronavirus Act?
Well, we didn't skip the vote, it's just the House didn't divide.
Sorry.
So what happens in the House of Commons is they say, the question is that the Coronavirus Act be renewed. All those in favour say aye. Some people said aye, no one said no, and that is a vote.
There was basically no one there.
Well, that's right, because it wasn't very
about as many people as here right now, and then they just passed it through again.
But again,
no question whatsoever.
Well, there was a debate on it, but the point I'm making is that...
But no vote.
So I'm sorry, I know I'm being very pedantic here. There was a vote in the House of Commons, but what there wasn't was a division. So in the House of Commons, they asked the question, and if people shout aye and people shout no, then the Speaker shouts division, and we have to go through the lobbies. But if nobody shouts no, or insufficient people, then it gets voted through without going through the lobbies. And the crucial point is, the reason there weren't very many MPs there is because actually at this stage the Coronavirus Act doesn't contain very much that's objectionable. And this has been driving me mad. People think that we were locked down under the Coronavirus
Objectionable
Act.
To whom?
Well, there's lots. Well, so to members of Parliament in the end. That's why they weren't there. But the reason that they
weren't.
What
if I object?
Well, you need to write to your MP. But the point I'm making is that members of Parliament will turn up and vote against something if their electors tell them they want it opposed.
What about the maybe 24 or so petitions that have been put to Parliament this year, questioning the efficacy of the and whether we needed to lock down in the first place? Passports, of course.
Members of Parliament take all of these things into account when they vote. But one of the things we have to take into account is we represent geographical areas, right? So I represent Wickham, and I know that in Wickham there's an amazing range of opinion on this subject, from people who are really terrified of the virus and very pro and are still worried, to people who are anti and think the whole thing's a hoax. Now, my job in the midst of all of that is to do what I think is right, and I think
walk a tightrope without.
Well, I have to do what I think is right, and which is best represents what my constituents think. That is, I'm afraid, the tricky job that a Member of Parliament has to do. And I know I take a lot of heat from both sides of the argument, but what I'd say to you and anyone watching this is I'm really satisfied I've done the very best I could.
You're still recommending people take the even though there's tons of evidence that suggests it people.
There's tons of evidence on all sides of it, and what I'm going to do is keep taking the best scientific evidence I can get, which is that I think people should take the that I should take the
Wouldn't encouraging people to take the encourage the uptake of passports?
No, I don't accept that at all. So people were encouraged to take.
Well, if no one takes the we don't need the passports, right?
But that isn't going to happen. I mean, look at the uptake we've already got with the. If that was ever true, that ship has sailed. But the point I'd make to you is that for a long time people have been encouraged to have all sorts of and have commonly done it, but that we never had passports for the flu, for example. So I think we've got to be careful to have the right debates on the right subjects. If people look at the evidence on and think they don't want to take the then they shouldn't have to take the and I will stand to protect them and make sure their rights are not infringed. But I still have to say that as a Member of Parliament responsible for about 75,000 electors, I am recommending the on the basis of expert advice.
Okay. How many Freemasons do you know?
I don't know any. Well, I know some people who are Freemasons, but I'm not a Freemason. But I'm not getting into conspiracy theories. I think it's a nonsense.
All right. Well, thank you for talking with me.
All I see is consensus and fear and incompetence.
Consensus with what?
Well, just people agreeing with each other. Right, we better go and do some.
All right. Thanks, Stevie boy.